Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balaram, Gaunita, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled Vaishnavas. So we'll continue with Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th Canto, 5th chapter today. It's a very short chapter actually. Anyway, so this is the 10th verse of the 5th chapter. Jayanti, you would like to recite?
Yeah. Kodito vipravakyena na tvam dakshati takshakaha mityavo na nopada dakshanti mrityunam mrityum ishwaram. Translation: the snake but Dakshak, sent by the curse of the Brahman, will not burn your true self. The agents of death will never burn such a master of the self as you, for you have already conquered all dangers on your path back to Godhead.
So yes, the snake will come and bite the body, but can't attack the self, because the soul is indestructible. It's eternal. Can't be burned, can't be cut to pieces, can't be drowned, because the soul is spiritual, same nature as Krishna, as God. But the body will perish, that is for sure. Whether one is weak or poor, doesn't matter. The body will perish. But the snake bird, Takshak, sent by the curse of the Brahman, will not burn your true self. So, this chapter is when Sukhodev Goswami gives his final instructions to Maharaja Parikshit and explains how King Parikshit's fear of death from the snake bird Takshak was averted by Sukhodev Goswami's instructions on the absolute truth. So if we recall, going back to the beginning of the Bhagavatam, King Parikshit was cursed to die within 7 days by the Brahmin boy, Srini, because Parikshit Maharaj had sort of offended his father, Srini's father, Samak Rishi. But the Rishi didn't find any offense because he knew the king was just frustrated. But the son was a little immature and he cursed him to die in 7 days, to be bitten by a snake. So the 7 days are up. Bhagavatam has been spoken now for 7 days, 7 nights by Sukhodev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. So this is the final part of those 7 days now, the last bit. So what's happening? Let's have a look. So Sukhodev Goswami advises Parikshit Maharaj to give up the animalistic mentality of thinking, I am going to die. Interesting how he's saying that. I am going to die. So we give up that mentality because we will never actually die. We simply change bodies. Unlike the body, we have not taken birth. There was not a time in the past when we did not exist, and we are not about to be destroyed. We will not take birth again in the form of our sons or grandsons, like a sprout taking birth from a seed and then generating a new seed. Thus, death for the body is unavoidable for every embodied being, but the soul itself never dies, being entirely distinct from the material body, in the same way that fire is distinct from its fuel. So this is something very important to understand. We never will die. I'm going to die, or my father has died, my mother has died. Actually, they haven't died. They're still continuing to live in a different body, in a different place. So this is an interesting mentality to develop. I am never going to die. Of course, it's not that the body will not perish. It will perish. So we shouldn't be thinking, I'm never going to die, I'm going to live in the same body. Because that's one of the things, that's foolishness. Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is the most amazing thing in this world? And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, the most amazing thing is people see their father and mother die, their relatives die, their friends die. Everybody around them is dying, but they think they're going to live forever. That's foolishness. If we think we're going to live in this body forever, that's the way we're behaving. That's the way we usually behave. I'm going to live in this life. Forget about tomorrow. Don't worry about death. Well, that's foolishness as well, because we will leave this body. And the question is, what are we going to attain after leaving this body? Because we will keep getting new bodies as long as we're not self-realized. So Parikshit Maharaj is advising, give up this mentality, I am going to die, because you never will die. You will live forever, but not in this body. You will live according to your desires and your karma. And ultimately, if one is liberated, one will live in the spiritual world. So, in a dream, one can see his own head being cut off. Sometimes we have some crazy dreams, like flying, or some things happening to us. And then when we wake up, we understand that the actual self is standing apart from the dream experience. So when we wake up, we realize, oh, that was just a dream. I wasn't actually, my head wasn't being cut off. Similarly, while awake, one can see that his body is a product of the 5 material elements. So if we really analyze ourselves, we can see that this body, what is it? What is its component? Mainly water, a little bit of earth, the bones, fire in the stomach, air in the belly perhaps, all around it, and ether. That's the component of this material body. That's not us, because those are separate ingredients. Therefore, it is to be understood that the actual self, the soul, is distinct from the body. It observes and is unborn and immortal. The material body qualities and activities of the spirit soul are created by the material mind. So now, for example, we are creating by our actions, by our desires, by our thoughts, we are creating our next body. That mind is itself created by the illusionary potency of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the soul assumes material existence. The soul within the body is self-luminous and is separate from the visible gross body and invisible subtle body. So we have 2 bodies. The gross body is there, made of earth, water, fire, but there's a subtle body within. And that subtle body consists of 3 things: mind, intelligence, and ego. When the body's subtle mental covering is destroyed by transcendental knowledge, the soul within the body again exhibits its original identity. So it's easy to understand we are not the gross body, but sometimes it's not so easy to understand that we are not the mind, intelligence, and ego either. We can easily become identified with that, with the mind. But actually we are separate from the mind. How can we tell we are separate from the mind? When we sit in meditation, when we're trying to chant the Hare Krishna mantra and we're trying to focus on the names of the holy names of the Lord, you will notice the mind will disappear, will go somewhere else. It will go, its attention will be elsewhere. And then you will bring, if you're strong, you'll bring the mind back to the holy name. That's how we can tell we're not the mind. We're the controllers of the mind, if we want to be, if we're strong enough. So how do we gain this knowledge? Through transcendental knowledge.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yes, when we chant the holy names, surrender to Krishna, and we feel very happy. Feel very happy and do not want to leave the bin bag. We want to continue. Like today, it is Ekadashi, okay? We chanted more than 25 rounds, even 30 rounds. And it is so pleasing, Prabhuji.
Good. That's the right mentality. That's it. Very good. So thank you, Siddharam Prabhu, for sharing that. Very important. So when the body's subtle mental covering is destroyed by transcendental knowledge, that's the way to destroy our identification with the mind. The soul within the body again exhibits his original identity. Just as the temporal existence of a lamp comes about by the combination of oil, vessel, wick, and the fire, similarly, the material body comes about by the amalgamation of three modes of material nature. So we can tell, right? The lamp, you need so many things to get the lamp ready: the oil, the lamp itself, the wick, and then the fire. And then you can see the lamp is full, complete. Similarly, our body needs the amalgamation of all these different items through the modes of material nature, so that we can have a vehicle to function through. The material body appears at birth and displays life for some time, although it's always dead, right? What does it consist of? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are dead elements. These are not life elements. So the body is always dead, but the soul within the body appears to give life to the body. Finally, the combination of material modes dissolve and the body undergoes death, a phenomena similar to the extinguishing of a lamp. Sukhodev Goswami thus addresses the king, saying, "You should fix yourself in meditation upon Lord Vishnu, and thus the bite of the snake bird Takshak will not affect you, for you have already conquered all dangers on your path back to Godhead." Very good advice, brilliant advice. You should think that I am non-different from the absolute truth, the supreme abode. I am non-different. So Krishna is, Sukhodev Goswami is saying, to think you're not different, at least qualitatively, from this absolute truth, the supreme abode. And that absolute truth, the supreme destination, is non-different from you. Thus surrendering yourself to the Supreme Soul, who is free from all material misidentification, you will not even notice the snake bird Takshak when he approaches with his poison-filled fangs and bites your foot. Nor will you see your dying body on the material or the material world around you, because you have realized yourself to be separate from them. I have narrated you the topics you inquired about, the pastimes of Lord Hari. Now, what more do you wish to hear? So this is the end of chapter 5. Chapter 6. Chapter 6 actually is the one where Parikshit Maharaj prepares himself for the snake, and the end of his life in that body. Any comments, any questions from this chapter? This is the final instructions of Sukhodev Goswami.
Wonderful, isn't it, Prabhu?
Yeah,
And,
it's helpful to us. Yeah.
Helpful to us, helpful to everybody, those who are in the dying state. But what I was trying to say is that when I was reading one of these chapters from Canto 12, it says that Kali deliberately entered through this Shamikru's son, because he was a child.
Right.
And nobody could deviate his mind. And the child can be stupid, foolish, can act it anywhere. So that's how Kali entered through the body of a child.
Yeah. Sounds reasonable. Yeah, and the Brahmin boy.
Brahmin boy, yes.
He should have known better, but he was immature. Yeah, and as you said, Kali entered through him. Yeah.
Because if it was an adult, they would have reasoned out and a bit better. But this was a young Brahmin boy being a little bit of a proud, puffed up about his heritage, and sort of was already a bit on the flying, let us put it that way, puffed up because of this heritage. And then something like this happened. So it immediately blew his lead off. And that's what all that Kali wanted. And that's what exactly what happened.
Yeah, true. And it was time for Kali to come. So any excuse he wanted just to enter. So another thing was when Parikshit Maharaj offered him places to stay, like, the liquor house and the restaurants and whatever it was, Kali said, well, that's not enough. I can reside there anyway, but give me something more substantial to stay in. So then Parikshit Maharaj said, yeah, you can live in gold. And of course, his crown was made of gold. So in one sense, Kali also entered Parikshit Maharaj through his crown. And therefore, Parikshit Maharaj makes this small mistake when he went to Shamak Rishi's ashram, because he thought Shamak Rishi is not paying attention now. I am the monarch, but he is in meditation, he's ignoring me. So he placed a snake around the head of Shamak Rishi, around the body of Shamak Rishi. And that was a little offensive. But Shamak Rishi was such a great soul. He said, no offense, no problem. But then his son had cursed him, as you said, out of immaturity. So yeah, Kali enters, when it's time, no matter how hard you try, the time has come. You're not going to be able to stop Kali.
And also, as you say, Parikshit Maharaj put this gold crown on his head, and that's where Kali was sitting anyway.
Yeah. Made
I
him
wish him killed rather.
Sorry?
I wish the Kali was killed by Parikshit Maharaj.
No, but he was his time. You can't, because Krishna has given him his allotted time. He has a purpose. Because if Kali didn't come, we wouldn't be in the situation where we are, where simply by chanting Hare Krishna Maha, we can go back. This is a real blessing, actually. I know it's negative in the sense that Kali Yuga is not good, but actually for us it's very good, because we don't have to work very hard to go back to Godhead. Simply chanting Mahamantra is good, is enough. So in that sense, Kali Yuga is blessed. And that's why the demigods, they like to take birth now on this planet, because it's so easy to attain love of God. So,
Hello.
oops.
Yeah, it's a phone.
Okay, sorry. Anything else, Nani Ben?
Oh, sorry.
No, Prabhuji, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, Prabhu Ben.
My phone is ringing, but I'm not going to answer it. Parisit, when Nani Ben said that he put this gold crown on his head, and there the Kali was sitting there. That's how he done the sin.
Yeah.
Because he had the crown. When he took the crown out, he found out that he has done bad thing.
Yeah, true.
So that's a little bit I know about it.
Very
which
true.
is nice.
Very true. He realized, I made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, he made a mistake, he said, but it was too late then.
Yeah. Well, no, you see, he's Raj Rishi. He could have reversed the curse. He was very powerful. Yeah, he was very powerful. But he said, no, this is good. He said, this is good. Yeah, because
and
now
he took it.
When I know I'm going to die. So then he went to the Ganga and he sat and he waited for the sages, and the sages came in their thousands. And then Sukhodev Goswami came, and they asked, Sukhodev Goswami was asked by Parikshit, what do I do now? It is, I am going to die in 7 days. Please guide me. So then Bhagavatam was spoken. So beautiful.
Bhagavatam spoken, yes. Thank you.
Really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, we can stop there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.